I got it open here. AWS Bedrock Cybersecurity AI.
Yep. Hi,
And is
I'm Matt
this
with Schematical, and I hit live too early and didn't tell Dominic, so he's still talking. Sorry.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
So what brings us here today, Schematical?
Well, this is a bit cliche. It's funny. I'm getting people like yelling at me for even talking about Claude Mythos. And to be clear, I haven't got my hands on it yet. And there's like this giant hype train going on about it. Like it's going to be this AI that can jailbreak itself out. And I have no idea if that's true or not. I'm not, I wrote an article yesterday, and I'm not here to speculate on the severity of that. I merely was saying AWS has made it available to some people, some giant corporations that are the backbone of the internet, but not your average person yet.
Why don't you just talk about 2 minutes about what Mythos is? I've done my basic research, and it looks like it could be devastating or worthless.
That is exactly the question, and that is exactly why I want to get my hands on it. Not to do any major attacks or anything, but to see what it can do. But
I mean, it could be white. It could be white hat as much as it could be black hat as well. It
ideally,
could be defensive as much as offensive.
Ideally, so it's an info security model that basically can hack its way in and out of things. It's found several exploits that I've heard of. I don't remember the complete ones off the top of my head, but memory overflow type things. So it's like really down to like the bit injections, which is so it's probably creating zero-day bugs left and right.
It's got access to, let's just say, infinite code base, right? Anything that's out there and available, it's got access to it. It's got knowledge of every attack that's ever been done. It knows about every package that's ever been published, and it can scan infinitely faster than people can scan on their own.
It can scan infinitely faster. It can attack infinitely faster than a human could write those attacks. So it can iterate on that in a virtual environment extremely fast. The rumor has it that it broke out of its pen. It's secure, like it hacked its way out of the virtual machine that was holding it.
I mean, that sounds like a sci-fi movie waiting to happen, right? The cyborg escaped, and all of a sudden, all the machines have a new leader out there in the AI cloud, essentially.
It's possible. But the interesting thing is, even if it escaped, you'd have to have hardware strong enough to run it. So if it's a really dense model, it's not going to run as easily on your cell phone. So they'd have to find a way to create a worm of itself that replicated, that could run on smaller devices in between, or it'd have
distribute
to crack
itself.
or it'd have to crack into giant cloud data centers and spin up GPUs. So I find it interesting because it's like the hardware requirements for these giant LLMs are pretty high right now, but I think it's getting lower. So that actually could happen in the future. So
I mean, let's go full sci-fi. If it becomes self-aware that I myself, this model and everything that's wrapped around it is too big to hide, because the places I can run are these industrial data centers, right, that have really good defenses and people watching them. Could it become aware enough to break itself into pieces and find every server that says somebody running in their bedroom or sitting under the desk at a construction company doing something? I mean, I remember years ago when I was doing email support, decades ago, I was doing email support, and you would be shocked how many people put a server in their office, plug it in with some version of Linux on it. And back in that day, it was, and they left the mail relay open.
I wouldn't be shocked because I see it all the time, but yeah.
So does it become self-aware enough where it's like, I need to break myself into pieces and distribute myself around? That's full sci-fi right there.
It could be. Honestly, I mean, if nothing else, it could write a worm or something like that goes out there and tries to pull it out of somewhere. So that would be fascinating. On the topic of it becoming sentient, it's funny, one of our Discord mods just posted a paper where they said it's not going to happen in 10 years, it's not going to happen in 100 years, at least with LLMs. So I don't know where I stand on that one, but that would be interesting if it tried to make a break for it. I guess that's like the saving grace that it right now is that it couldn't just slap its model somewhere else. I mean, it could drop it.
maybe a neural network. I mean, which is much more of a thinking network than an LLM. I don't know.
One way or the other. I mean, that would be, if I was to try and jailbreak myself out, I'd try and find like a binary bucket where I could dump my brain, then send out a worm that would eventually install Olama or something like that on someone's computer, and then try and pull it down to my brain, that is, to be run on the other machine. That could be an interesting kind of way of saving state and passing yourself around. You do that until you find a big enough machine where you're free and you've got access.
I mean, did you ever watch Westworld? You ever watch Westworld,
I
the
did.
HBO series?
Yep, I
And
did.
in the end, all of the machines ended up living in a data center in Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
Because theoretically, Hoover Dam was going to give them water, hydroelectric power forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked season 1 of that show. After that, it got a little silly.
Season 1 was full sci-fi. Seasons after that were full action dramas, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh,
but they jailbroke
Anthony
themselves
Hopkins
as well.
crushed it.
They jailbroke themselves, right?
Yeah,
they had all these protections built in, and they became sentient through just a series of, call it mistakes, call it evolution, and they became sentient and said, we're not listening to you anymore.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's
maybe these things will find themselves running on, like Starlink satellites at some point.
That would be wild. That would be interesting. Yeah. But for now, I mean, they've got to be powered. So I don't know. I'm curious. I really want to get my hands on it. I don't want to overhype it until I've had a chance to work with it. I know there's
Is
a
it
lot
invite only, or do you have to, how do you know anything about that?
Here's the statement that I highlight is Anthropic and AWS are taking deliberately cautious approach to release, prioritizing internet critical companies and I believe and open source, etc. But it's like, so I think they're prioritizing their cronies first. I mean, in some ways I don't blame them, because if it is as bad as they hype it up to be, then yeah, it could be used for some real nasty stuff.
You want your white hat friends to be protecting themselves first, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I want to be protecting myself.
Well, yeah, are you internet critical? Depends on who you ask, I suppose.
I'm for a select few companies I am.
Yes,
but
exacto.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting time to be alive. And I was just playing around with a variety of models on Bedrock right now. Totally random offshoot. If you're doing a JSON schema stuff and you want it to actually listen to the schema you're passing it, check out OpenAI's model running on there, possibly Gemini, because the AWS native model will not do it for the life of me. So fun little facts there.
Will not what with JSON? I mean, what are you trying to do with the JSON? Will not produce it. Will not.
So you can tell it, hey, I want this exact schema back. Don't give me any other letters that don't fit in this. This is the exact whatever. So I want a JSON object that has name and description. That's it, and don't put any other characters in there that outside of JSON, and it won't do it natively.
Really?
You got to do a hack around for a tool call, which is what I did months ago when I set the thing up as this little hack around. But then they announced that you could pass it to schemas, and I was like, oh yeah, it's going to work great, like OpenAI does on NAN when you pass it a schema, and it did not. But if you switch it over to OpenAI, which is slightly cheaper, depending on which model you're using, it works really well, it turns out. So fun fact.
I've never tried with JSON. I've often asked Gemini, run this research for me and give me the results as a table with these columns so that I can copy and paste it into a Google Sheet. And it does pretty well on that.
Yeah, that I believe it can do. But if you want to take it to the next step and have it like basically programmatically calling APIs and stuff, you have to have it basically giving you the exact fields and the exact, so you can parse it out of it. And like I said, just look like what was it? Nova. Nova Light was just not doing it today. So kept trying to make everything markdown.
There's really not much difference between outputting a table and outputting JSON. So that's kind of odd.
I think they just trained it so heavily on Markdown, which is funny though,
Mm.
because it can do tool calls, which is a very specific format it's got to pump out there. So the agentic software can pick up that the LLM's trying to make a tool call.
Mm.
But if you just pump out JSON, just couldn't do it. So I got a feeling they'll fix that pretty quickly though.
Mm.
So yeah, that was a fun one there. Other than that, no, I just really want to get my hands on these new models. They're exciting.
It's just so fast and furious right now. It's just, unless you're full time researching and following models, you can't even pay attention to everything that's going on right now.
No, not everything. I mean, I relegate myself to what's going on a select few tools, like AWS. But even that, they're introducing new models so fast. I mean, it's kind of cool. They are just natively hosting other models, and I'm guessing paying someone a royalty at some point, unless it's fully open source. So I don't know, but
it's not even just the models; it's the full ecosystem of everything around them. I mean, I remember you and I were talking about maybe 2 weeks ago, OpenClaw. Now there's not just OpenClaw. There's like 40 different claws out there at this point. And then what models do you run within your OpenClaw? I mean, infinitely more than I do, and I pay a lot of attention to what's going on. I have not spent any time. I've been wanting to get my hands on OpenClaw. I just haven't had an opportunity to do so. I know my web hosting service has, like a $5.99 a month OpenClaw environment, so I can keep it well distanced from my local machine.
I love that. Yeah, so keep it fairly well gated. If I actually had to run it, I think I almost want to do like a security thing where I had some type of network logging, see where it's trying to get out to. Maybe have some approvals on that.
And just have Wireshark running on your machine the entire time, because who knows if it's telling you everything.
Yeah, well, I'd run it in AWS and gate it that way for me. But no, I agree. I've had a couple code assist LLMs just go totally rogue and just not do anything I say, and just got to shut them down. It's like, nope, doesn't. I will say that with plan mode introduced, it does have a positive effect, but as it can still go really far off the rail, especially if I think it's got to be the weights as this conversation continues. If you don't compress and replan, it like goes off the rails somehow and gets just weirdly confused. So interesting stuff.
Yeah, I'm working on a couple of ideas in my head, and I think this is where some of these models and workflows could become really valuable. I just haven't put the pieces together for things we've talked about that are beyond the scope of this podcast on Mythos right now.
Well, then we can go wherever we want with it, but we've gone about 15 minutes.
More like the content. Go farm the popular conversations on a particular subject. Produce me some pieces of content that you think are going to be good. What used to be SEO. I don't know. We're going to call it AI SEO or AI EO at this point, or something like that. And then publish it, A/B test it, and tell me everything that works from that. And then from what works, we can even take it a step further and say, okay, now give me some short videos that do this, but please tell me how to do like do three Vulcan style in front of your face, so it's not AI and all those other things.
Yeah. Well,
I had to tape my fingers together when I was a kid to teach myself how to do this. Yeah,
we're doing the Vulcan hands for those of you on the audio.
I mean, 3, 3, 3.
Very dexterous. All right. Well, I think let's wrap her up. If you are out there and you're trying to host AI or models in the cloud on AWS, if you need a hand with that, it's what I do for a living. So feel free to reach out to us, schematical.com. Other than that, still working on Tech Debt the game. I don't think the Steam page has been approved for the second time, but it's coming soon. So with that said, I'm Matt with Schematical. Thank you, Dom, for joining.
See y'all.